In a quiet house in the suburbs of London, where children's laughter usually filled the air, a strange silence began to settle over Liam's family. Liam, a 5-year-old boy, was no ordinary child. His wide eyes, holding a gaze far beyond his years, began to tell stories that weren't from his current world, but from another, very distant and inherently unsettling one. It started with a shocking simplicity like any childish fantasy, but with a disturbing touch of reality. As Liam played with his colorful wooden blocks in the sunlit living room, building a tall tower that almost reached the ceiling, he suddenly stopped. His small hands froze in place, and a look of deep sorrow crossed his face. "Mommy, this tower looks like the one that fell on me." His mother, Sarah, approached with a gentle smile, trying to reassure him. "Which tower, darling? This is your beautiful tower that you built yourself. You're such a little artist." But Liam slowly shook his head, his eyes fixed on the colored blocks as if they held a heavy secret. "No, another tower. It was very big and white, and it fell on me. It hurt so much, Mommy, and then everything went dark." His father, John, who was reading the evening paper, initially paid no mind. "Don't worry, champ. You must have seen a cartoon with towers falling. Let's keep playing." He tried to distract him, but Liam didn't smile. He remained lost in thought, as if his mind was somewhere else entirely. That day, the sun was hot, and there was a lot of dust, and also the smell of fire. And there were many people screaming loudly. Liam's words came out in a calm tone, but they carried a weight and details that didn't fit his age. Sarah began to feel a subtle anxiety creeping into her heart. The strange details grew day by day, becoming impossible to ignore. A few weeks after the tower incident, while the family ate their usual dinner in the warm kitchen, Liam calmly said, looking at his plate of pasta, "I had a white cat. Her name was Snow. She used to sleep next to me every night and keep me warm." Sarah was startled and put down her fork. "A cat, Liam? We've never had cats, honey." But Liam insisted, his wide eyes shining with an odd sincerity. "Not here. There, in the other house. The house with a big window overlooking a wide street full of trees, and a small fountain in the middle of the street." John, who always tried to explain things logically, interjected with some tension. "Liam, where are you getting this from? Maybe you dreamed about it?" But Liam shook his head. "No, it wasn't a dream. I remember the sound of the church bell that rang every Sunday morning. Its sound was loud and beautiful. And I remember the name of the street. Lily Street. And there was a sweets shop at the beginning of the street. It always smelled so good. The smell of fresh bread and cake." His parents froze. Liam had never been to a church before, nor had he ever passed a street named Lily Street. It reached its peak when he spoke of people he had no way of knowing. "And I had a little sister. She had curly golden hair. She always used to hide my toys under the bed or in the closet. And she loved to draw a lot, and her name was Lily," Sarah said in a trembling voice, faint tears beginning to gather in her eyes. "John, this isn't normal. My son isn't making these details up." Sarah and John could no longer ignore what was happening. The growing anxiety and fear of the unknown pushed them to seek help. They decided to visit Dr. Eric Matthews, a psychiatrist known for his open-mindedness regarding unconventional phenomena, who a friend had suggested. In Dr. Matthews' office, Liam sat quietly on the couch, absorbed in drawing a colorful picture. His eyes followed his crayon precisely, as if he was drawing something he knew very well. Sarah and John sat before the doctor, their faces showing signs of exhaustion and deep concern. "So, Liam recalls details from a past life?" Dr. Matthews asked in a calm, comforting voice. "Terrifying details, doctor. Names, places, even accidents, as if he actually lived them, with all the pain and sensory details," Sarah said, her tearful eyes reflecting her fear. "I tried to explain it away logically, dreams, fantasies, TV influence, or even video games, but the details are much too precise and coherent for that," John added, rubbing his forehead. Dr. Matthews stood up and walked towards Liam, who was still absorbed in his drawing. "Hello, Liam, can I see your drawing?" Liam held up the drawing. It was a picture of an ancient city, with massive stone buildings and a leaning tower on the verge of collapse. At the bottom of the picture, a group of people were running in a panic. Wonderful, Liam. This is a beautiful city. Have you visited it before? The doctor asked softly, his eyes watching the child's reaction. Liam answered without hesitation, with an odd confidence. Yes, that's Rome. A long, long time ago. A very long time ago. Before everything fell and was destroyed by the earthquake. The words hit Liam's parents like a thunderbolt. Rome? Where did he get that information? They had never spoken of Rome in front of him before. Dr. Matthews maintained his composure and continued to ask, "And do you remember what your name was in Rome?" Liam looked directly at the doctor, with eyes holding an unexpected depth for a 5-year-old. "My name was Marco, and I was a builder. I helped build churches and big towers." After the session with Dr. Matthews, there was no room for doubt. The details were numerous and coherent in a chilling way, and they remarkably matched historical facts. Their curiosity and fear for their son drove them to research the past more deeply. Sarah and John sat in front of their computer for long hours, searching the internet and historical encyclopedias. They looked utterly exhausted and deeply troubled. "Look, Sarah," John said, pointing his finger at the screen, his eyes widening in astonishment. "The Great Rome Earthquake of 1349. There were towers and churches that fell and a very large number of casualties. It matched Liam's description of the day, the hot sun, the smell of dust and fire, the screaming people." Sarah, her voice trembling as she read silently. "Massive destruction, collapse of ancient buildings, bridges destroyed, vast libraries vanished. An old picture of Rome before the destruction appeared. It showed a tower very similar to the one Liam had drawn, though less detailed. Could it be? Could Liam actually be?" John began, his mind refusing to believe what was happening. Sarah interrupted him with a desperate tone. "I don't know, John, but everything he's saying matches what we're seeing. The white cat, Snow, his sister Lily, even the name Marco was very common in that period in ancient Rome. They found old records and illustrative pictures of common names, and even illustrative drawings of women and children from that era, one of which showed a curly-haired girl strikingly similar to Lily's description. The coincidence was impossible, and the correlation was frightening. As time passed, Liam began to talk less about his past life. The memories gradually faded, like a dream that vanishes upon waking early in the morning. But they left an indelible mark on his parents' lives. One cold night, Liam was sleeping soundly in his bed, lost in innocent childhood dreams. Sarah and John sat beside him, watching him in silence. "Thank goodness he's starting to forget," Sarah said, gently stroking Liam's soft hair. "It was a terrifying and painful experience." John replied, tenderly holding her hand. "Terrifying, but it completely changed our perspective on life. Who would have thought there's life after death in that sense? And that a soul could return again?" Liam's experience wasn't just a fleeting story. It left a profound impact on his parents' souls. John and Sarah no longer viewed life in the same way. Conversations about the past, present, and future took on a deeper, more profound turn in their home. They became more open to ideas that once seemed impossible, or mere superstitions. Their horizons expanded in ways they never imagined. They noticed that Liam, despite forgetting the precise details of his past life, retained an unusual maturity for a child his age. He was calmer and more contemplative, and showed an odd empathy towards others, especially the elderly or those in distress. It was as if this experience had refined his soul and made him wiser. They sometimes wondered if this maturity was a remnant of that old soul that had inhabited his small body, or simply a side effect of a unique experience. One day, as Liam played in the garden, absorbed in building a sandcastle, there was no look of sadness or fear in his eyes, and he didn't mention any falling towers. He smiled with pure innocence, running around his small sandcastle as if writing an entirely new story, far removed from any pain or old memories. His parents watched him with gentle smiles, a mix of relief and wonder. Their fears that these strange memories would affect Liam's childhood faded. Life in the present successfully erased the memories of the past, but it could not erase the impact that experience had on the entire family. Liam, with his new childhood and a mature soul, became a symbol of life's eternal mystery. Things were no longer the same after Liam revealed his memories. Sarah and John read more about spiritual phenomena and stories of reincarnation prevalent in various cultures around the world, from India to Japan, from scientific research to ancient oral traditions. It was no longer just a myth. It became part of their new reality that affected every aspect of their lives. Even their friends and family, who heard parts of the story, began to look at Liam with a mix of admiration and awe, and some quietly wondered if they too had experienced similar things without realizing it. Liam grew up healthy, went to school, and made new friends. And sometimes, when he gazed at the night sky, or when he saw an ancient Roman statue in a book or documentary, there was a faint glint in his eyes, as if he was recalling something for a fleeting moment. But he quickly returned to his joyful, childlike reality, as if the past was just a distant dream, a faint memory from another life. And although Marco's memories had almost completely faded, the fact that Liam had lived them left an indelible mark. This experience changed Liam's family's concept of existence, making them believe that there are deeper dimensions to life and death, dimensions that transcend human understanding and material logic. Liam, the boy who remembered his past life in creepy detail, became a story told within the family, a reminder that life can be far more mysterious and wonderful than we imagine, and that souls may carry untold stories, just waiting for the opportunity to emerge again. As Liam grew older, his unusual maturity continued to manifest in unexpected ways. He wasn't just a bright child, he possessed a wisdom far beyond his years. He tended to resolve conflicts between his friends calmly and rationally, offering advice that seemed simple yet held remarkable depth. His teachers noticed his exceptional ability to focus and grasp complex concepts quickly, as if he had prior experience in learning. They didn't attribute this maturity to his usual intelligence, but to something deeper. But this maturity didn't come without challenges. Sometimes Liam felt a sense of loneliness. His peers didn't understand his interests or the depth of his thoughts. While they talked about video games and TV shows, Liam might pose philosophical questions about the meaning of life or the nature of existence, leaving his friends perplexed. His parents noticed this discrepancy and tried hard to find activities and friends who shared his deeper interests. But it wasn't easy. Although Liam stopped narrating details of his life as Marco, subtle clues would emerge from time to time. He had an unexplained aversion to loud thunder, or any slight tremors in the ground, even if they were mild, becoming anxious and disoriented for moments. He also always preferred open, spacious places over confined, enclosed ones, as if the memory of collapse still lingered in his subconscious. One time, while the family was on vacation in Rome, they visited the Colosseum and many ancient Roman ruins. Sarah and John watched Liam closely. When they reached an area that contained remnants of ancient towers, Liam suddenly stopped. He didn't say anything, but he placed his small hand on one of the ancient stones and closed his eyes for a long moment. When he opened them, a fleeting look of deep sorrow shone in them, then quickly faded, replaced by his usual childlike expression. Liam didn't comment on the experience, nor did his parents ask him, but they realized that something had touched his soul at that moment. As the years passed, Liam's story became an integral part of the family's history, whispered among close generations. It wasn't just a strange tale. It was a story that pushed Liam's family to ponder the nature of existence and the soul in a way they had never considered before. It became a reminder that our world might hold mysteries beyond our imagination, and that life might be an endless cycle of experiences and transformations. Liam himself, as he grew up, consciously remembered no details of Marco or ancient Rome. He became a successful and well-mannered young man, carrying within him an inexplicable calmness and wisdom. But sometimes, when he gazed at the night sky, or when he glimpsed a picture of a white cat, or smelled the aroma of fresh bread, he would feel a strange sense of longing, a feeling that he had known this sensation before, from a very distant time. A time that, perhaps, was not truly gone. Could this all be just a coincidence, or do souls truly return? Let us know in the comments. Do you believe in reincarnation? Have you ever experienced or heard of something similar? We read every comment. And if this story gave you chills, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell. Because what's coming next is even stranger than fiction. See you in the next story, where reality goes far beyond imagination.